Shalom and welcome to another lesson in the series The People of Israel Are Coming Home. Today we will be studying the book of Joshua, chapter 18, Perek Yud Chet. We saw the first half of the book of Joshua refers to the conquering of the land, the battles with the people living here. From chapter 13 and on, we're speaking about the division of the land, giving each tribe its part. We started off with the 2.5 tribes that Moses gave them part of the land in the eastern side of the Jordan River. Then in chapters 16, 17, and earlier in chapter 15, we saw the distribution of the tribes of Judah and Ephraim and half of Manasseh. That's 2.5 of Joshua. So 2.5 by Moses and 2.5 by Joshua. We see that Joshua and Moses are a continuation. Joshua continues the story of Moshe. And today we are beginning with the remaining 7 tribes. 7, that's because we've already concluded with. Levites do not receive part of the land, as we spoke about. And now we are talking about, in this chapter, we will be speaking about Benjamin. But before that, the first half of chapter 18 is actually criticism of Joshua towards the rest of the tribes of Israel. And we will read, Vayikahalu kol adat b'nei Yisrael Shiloh. The entire assembly of the children of Israel gather to Shiloh. And Vayashkinu sham et ohel moed. And they erected the tent meeting there. Here we see, finally, after 14 years, after the people of Israel have entered the land, we see that we have a new place, Shiloh. Shiloh is chosen as the place where the tabernacle will be located, where the Ark of Covenant will be located. If till now we spoke about Gilgal, we are now speaking about Shiloh. But in Shiloh, Joshua gathers the people and he has something to say. Verse 3, Vayomer Yehoshua el bnei Yisrael, Ad ana atem mitrapim lavo l'rashet et haaretz asher natan lachem Adonai Elokei avotechem. What are you waiting for? How long will you be lax in coming to possess the land? We don't know exactly what the people of the tribes have done. We do remember that the dividing of the land begins with Caleb, who comes up and says, here I am, ready to conquer the land. Joshua here is critical of the other tribes. Means that they were expressing some kind of laziness. They were not to the point. And we see that again and again in last chapter, in chapter 17, we saw it in the people of Joseph. They said, listen, give us an easier part, give us a place where it will be more easy to conquer. Joshua is very critical. One of the major things that Joshua is trying to tell the people is, you cannot sit and wait for yourselves to be able to settle the land. The story of settling the land needs initiative. It needs you to stop being lazy, stop being lax in coming to possess the land. The people of Israel, many of the tribes, were used to walking in the desert with a guide like Moses. They were used to fighting in the land with a guide like Joshua. And here, Joshua says, you have to change the subtext. You have to change the place of your mind and understand that settling the land of Israel demands more activity, demands more initiative. You can't sit and wait. And Joshua tells the people, go around and choose for yourself. Each one of the 7 tribes choose 3 representatives, 3 delegates, and they go around and measure the land. They go around and divide the land into 7 parts. And today, as I said, we will be referring to the part of the land received by the children of Benjamin. Vayal Goral Mateh Benyamin, I'm reading in verse 11. Vayetze Gvul Goralam Bein Bnei Yehudah Uvein Bnei Yosef. And this is a very important sentence. The lottery for the tribe of the descendants of Benjamin come up according to their families. The territory of their lot is between the descendants of Judah and the descendants of Joseph. If we recall, I mentioned before, the division of the land is strongly rooted in the stories of the Torah. And if we recall that the second half of the book of Genesis, we see the stories of Joseph and his brothers. But in the stories of Joseph and the brothers, there's sort of a head-to-head battle between Judah and Joseph. And who's in the middle? Who are they trying to take over? Benjamin. Benjamin is part of the time in the hands of Judah, and Joseph wants to get him. Joseph wants him to be with him, and Judah wants him to be with him. Judah, as we saw before, represents the leadership of the people of Israel, the kingdom. Later on we will see that King David comes from Judah. Judah represents the kingdom leadership of the people, and he wants Benjamin to be on his side. Joseph, who was at the time in Egypt, he reached a point where he took over leadership. He wanted Benjamin to be with him. Benjamin was the only son of Jacob, who was born in the land of Israel. Benjamin was the son who later on we will see the Holy Temple was built in his part of the land. Benjamin receives a reasonably small part of the land, but it's between Judah in the south and the tribes of Joseph in the north. And this is the concept. Benjamin unites the people. We will see later on in the book of Judges, when there's a major crisis in the people, when there's some kind of disconnection with the tribe of Benjamin, and the whole thing falls apart. And there's a major crisis in the people amongst the people of Israel, because the tribe of Benjamin, the youngest of the tribes, he had a major mission in uniting the people. And therefore, when King David decides he wants to establish a palace of a kingdom for the entire people, he knows he has to do it in Jerusalem, in the place which is between Judah and Joseph. A place which is not in one of the tribes, not where King David started off in Hebron, but rather in the tribe of Benjamin, in Jerusalem. What we see here in the story of the area which goes to the tribe of Benjamin, it's from Vayilem Gvul, their border goes Lefat Tzafona Min HaYarden. It starts off at the Jordan on the east, and it cuts through the mountain, through Beit El, through Beit Horon, cutting through almost throughout the entire land, where it's a small, relatively small part of the land, but it does have many, what the Torah calls katef. We see that in the land of Benjamin we have ketef Yericho. Sort of the ketef is a shoulder. Ketef hayevusi, the shoulder. But the shoulder, of course, when we refer to the shoulder, the flank, because if we recall, Benjamin, it says in the Torah, Bein Kteifav Shachen. God's presence is between the shoulders of the people of the people of Israel. Two shoulders, and Benjamin is like between the shoulders, whereas the temple, represented by the head, between the two shoulders. But the land of Benjamin is filled with shoulders. These are high mountains in which he can have a wider perspective. Because in order to unite the people, in order to unite the tribes of Judah and Joseph, Benjamin has to have the ability of standing on the tefaim, standing on the shoulders. And the description of the borders of Benjamin starts off with describing where the borders go through, and then it concludes with the names of the cities. V'hayu ha'arim l'matei b'nei Binyamin, and the cities are Jericho and Beit Chogla and Beit Arava and Beit El and Amona and Givon and Ramah and Beirut, and we see many of the cities we mentioned earlier as the cities of the Givonim, who are those who made peace with the people of Israel. We have Kfirah and Beirut, but the time has not yet come, and that's where the final sentence is. V'hayevusi hi Yerushalayim. The city of Jerusalem is still populated by the Yevusi, because the time has not come yet where the people of Israel will receive the city of Jerusalem. This only comes upon later on in the days of King David, where he manages to unite the people. Till then, Jerusalem is waiting in the land of Benjamin, waiting to unite the people, after each one of the tribes will finally settle in its natural location. Once again today, the city of Jerusalem is waiting to unite the people. We were blessed that just a few years ago, 45 years ago, Jerusalem becomes officially part of the land of Israel. It is united, and now, step by step, we are coming close to the days where the city of Jerusalem will also unite the entire people of Israel. Hopefully in our days soon. Shalom.